To crash.
The car crashed into the wall. The car crashed into the wall. Two vehicles crashed on the motorway. Two vehicles crashed on the motorway. The plane crashed into the mountain. The plane crashed into the mountain.
To collide.
The two cars collided at the intersection. The two cars collided at the intersection. They collided head-on. They collided head-on. The vehicles collided at high speed. The vehicles collided at high speed.
To hit.
The car hit a tree. The car hit a tree. He hit his head on the door. He hit his head on the door. The ball hit the window. The ball hit the window.
To fall.
She fell down the stairs. She fell down the stairs. He fell off his bike. He fell off his bike. The ladder fell over. The ladder fell over.
To slip.
She slipped on the wet floor. She slipped on the wet floor. He slipped on the ice. He slipped on the ice. I slipped and fell. I slipped and fell.
To trip.
She tripped over the cable. She tripped over the cable. He tripped on the step. He tripped on the step. I tripped and fell. I tripped and fell.
To injure.
The accident injured several people. The accident injured several people. He injured his leg in the fall. He injured his leg in the fall. She was injured in the crash. She was injured in the crash.
To hurt.
My arm hurts. My arm hurts. She hurt her back. She hurt her back. It hurts when I move. It hurts when I move.
To break.
He broke his arm. He broke his arm. She broke her leg in the accident. She broke her leg in the accident. The fall broke several bones. The fall broke several bones.
To cut.
She cut her finger with the knife. She cut her finger with the knife. He cut himself on the glass. He cut himself on the glass. The broken glass cut his hand. The broken glass cut his hand.
To burn.
She burned her hand on the stove. She burned her hand on the stove. He burned himself with hot water. He burned himself with hot water. The fire burned the building. The fire burned the building.
To bleed.
The wound was bleeding heavily. The wound was bleeding heavily. He started to bleed from his head. He started to bleed from his head. She was bleeding from the cut. She was bleeding from the cut.
To crash.
They crashed on the motorway. They crashed on the motorway. The driver crashed into a tree. The driver crashed into a tree. Several cars crashed in the fog. Several cars crashed in the fog.
To swerve.
The car swerved to avoid the pedestrian. The car swerved to avoid the pedestrian. He swerved off the road. He swerved off the road. The driver swerved to miss the animal. The driver swerved to miss the animal.
To skid.
The car skidded on the wet road. The car skidded on the wet road. He skidded and lost control. He skidded and lost control. The vehicle skidded into the barrier. The vehicle skidded into the barrier.
To overturn.
The car overturned on the bend. The car overturned on the bend. The truck overturned on the motorway. The truck overturned on the motorway. The vehicle overturned after the collision. The vehicle overturned after the collision.
To roll.
The car rolled down the hill. The car rolled down the hill. The vehicle rolled over several times. The vehicle rolled over several times. The car rolled and landed on its roof. The car rolled and landed on its roof.
To brake.
He braked suddenly to avoid the accident. He braked suddenly to avoid the accident. She braked hard when she saw the child. She braked hard when she saw the child. The driver braked too late. The driver braked too late.
To accelerate.
He accelerated too quickly. He accelerated too quickly. She accelerated around the corner. She accelerated around the corner. The car accelerated out of control. The car accelerated out of control.
To lose control.
The driver lost control on the ice. The driver lost control on the ice. She lost control of the vehicle. She lost control of the vehicle. He lost control and crashed. He lost control and crashed.
To spin.
The car spun out of control. The car spun out of control. The vehicle spun on the wet surface. The vehicle spun on the wet surface. The car spun and hit the barrier. The car spun and hit the barrier.
To explode.
The car exploded after the crash. The car exploded after the crash. The gas tank exploded. The gas tank exploded. The building exploded in the fire. The building exploded in the fire.
To catch fire.
The car caught fire after the crash. The car caught fire after the crash. The building caught fire. The building caught fire. The vehicle caught fire quickly. The vehicle caught fire quickly.
To rescue.
Firefighters rescued the passengers. Firefighters rescued the passengers. They rescued him from the burning car. They rescued him from the burning car. Emergency services rescued everyone. Emergency services rescued everyone.
To save.
The doctor saved his life. The doctor saved his life. They saved her from the accident. They saved her from the accident. Quick action saved many lives. Quick action saved many lives.
To treat.
Paramedics treated the injured. Paramedics treated the injured. The doctor treated her wounds. The doctor treated her wounds. They treated him at the scene. They treated him at the scene.
To bandage.
The nurse bandaged his arm. The nurse bandaged his arm. She bandaged the wound. She bandaged the wound. They bandaged his head. They bandaged his head.
To call.
They called an ambulance. They called an ambulance. She called for help. She called for help. He called emergency services. He called emergency services.
To arrive.
The ambulance arrived quickly. The ambulance arrived quickly. Police arrived at the scene. Police arrived at the scene. Firefighters arrived within minutes. Firefighters arrived within minutes.
To rush.
They rushed to the hospital. They rushed to the hospital. The ambulance rushed to the scene. The ambulance rushed to the scene. He rushed to help the victim. He rushed to help the victim.
To witness.
Many people witnessed the accident. Many people witnessed the accident. She witnessed the crash. She witnessed the crash. They witnessed the whole incident. They witnessed the whole incident.
To report.
They reported the accident to police. They reported the accident to police. She reported what she saw. She reported what she saw. He reported the incident immediately. He reported the incident immediately.
To investigate.
Police investigated the accident. Police investigated the accident. They investigated the cause. They investigated the cause. Authorities investigated the crash. Authorities investigated the crash.
To cause.
The rain caused the accident. The rain caused the accident. Speed caused the crash. Speed caused the crash. The driver's error caused the collision. The driver's error caused the collision.
To happen.
The accident happened at midnight. The accident happened at midnight. It happened very quickly. It happened very quickly. The crash happened on the motorway. The crash happened on the motorway.
To occur.
The accident occurred at the intersection. The accident occurred at the intersection. The incident occurred yesterday. The incident occurred yesterday. The crash occurred during rush hour. The crash occurred during rush hour.
To prevent.
They tried to prevent the accident. They tried to prevent the accident. Safety measures prevent accidents. Safety measures prevent accidents. He couldn't prevent the crash. He couldn't prevent the crash.
To avoid.
He tried to avoid the collision. He tried to avoid the collision. She avoided the accident by braking. She avoided the accident by braking. They avoided hitting the pedestrian. They avoided hitting the pedestrian.
To survive.
She survived the crash. She survived the crash. He survived the accident. He survived the accident. They survived with minor injuries. They survived with minor injuries.
To die.
3 people died in the crash. 3 people died in the crash. He died at the scene. He died at the scene. She died from her injuries. She died from her injuries.
To recover.
She is recovering from her injuries. She is recovering from her injuries. He recovered quickly. He recovered quickly. They are recovering in hospital. They are recovering in hospital.
To heal.
The wound will heal in time. The wound will heal in time. His broken bone is healing. His broken bone is healing. The injury took months to heal. The injury took months to heal.
To damage.
The accident damaged the car. The accident damaged the car. The crash damaged both vehicles. The crash damaged both vehicles. The fire damaged the building. The fire damaged the building.
To destroy.
The fire destroyed the car. The fire destroyed the car. The crash destroyed both vehicles. The crash destroyed both vehicles. The explosion destroyed everything. The explosion destroyed everything.
To total.
The car was totaled in the crash. The car was totaled in the crash. The accident totaled the vehicle. The accident totaled the vehicle. Both cars were totaled. Both cars were totaled.
Accident.
There was a serious accident on the motorway. There was a serious accident on the motorway. The accident happened at the intersection. The accident happened at the intersection. They witnessed the accident. They witnessed the accident.
Crash.
The crash was terrible. The crash was terrible. There was a crash on the motorway. There was a crash on the motorway. The crash involved 3 vehicles. The crash involved 3 vehicles.
Collision.
The collision was head-on. The collision was head-on. The collision caused serious damage. The collision caused serious damage. They avoided a collision. They avoided a collision.
Incident.
The incident was reported to police. The incident was reported to police. The incident happened yesterday. The incident happened yesterday. They investigated the incident. They investigated the incident.
Victim.
The victim was taken to hospital. The victim was taken to hospital. Several victims were injured. Several victims were injured. They helped the victim. They helped the victim.
Casualty.
There were many casualties. There were many casualties. The casualty was serious. The casualty was serious. They counted the casualties. They counted the casualties.
Survivor.
The survivor was rescued from the car. The survivor was rescued from the car. All survivors were taken to hospital. All survivors were taken to hospital. The survivor told his story. The survivor told his story.
Witness.
Several witnesses saw the accident. Several witnesses saw the accident. The witness gave a statement. The witness gave a statement. Witnesses described what happened. Witnesses described what happened.
Driver.
The driver lost control. The driver lost control. The driver was injured. The driver was injured. The driver was at fault. The driver was at fault.
Passenger.
All passengers survived. All passengers survived. The passenger was hurt. The passenger was hurt. There were 3 passengers in the car. There were 3 passengers in the car.
Pedestrian.
A pedestrian was hit by the car. A pedestrian was hit by the car. The pedestrian was crossing the street. The pedestrian was crossing the street. They avoided hitting the pedestrian. They avoided hitting the pedestrian.
Injury.
She suffered serious injuries. She suffered serious injuries. The injury was to his head. The injury was to his head. He had minor injuries. He had minor injuries.
Wound.
The wound was deep. The wound was deep. They treated the wound. They treated the wound. The wound was bleeding. The wound was bleeding.
Cat.
She had a deep cut on her hand. She had a deep cut on her hand. The cut needed stitches. The cut needed stitches. He cleaned the cut. He cleaned the cut.
Bruise.
She had a large bruise on her arm. She had a large bruise on her arm. The bruise was purple. The bruise was purple. He had several bruises. He had several bruises.
Fracture.
He had a fracture in his leg. He had a fracture in his leg. The fracture was serious. The fracture was serious. She broke her arm and had a fracture. She broke her arm and had a fracture.
Broken bone.
He had a broken bone in his arm. He had a broken bone in his arm. The broken bone needed surgery. The broken bone needed surgery. She had several broken bones. She had several broken bones.
Concussion.
He suffered a concussion. He suffered a concussion. The concussion was serious. The concussion was serious. She had a mild concussion. She had a mild concussion.
Burn.
She had a burn on her hand. She had a burn on her hand. The burn was from hot water. The burn was from hot water. He had severe burns. He had severe burns.
Bleeding.
The bleeding was heavy. The bleeding was heavy. They stopped the bleeding. They stopped the bleeding. The bleeding needed immediate attention. The bleeding needed immediate attention.
Scar.
The accident left a scar. The accident left a scar. She had a scar on her face. She had a scar on her face. The scar was from the cut. The scar was from the cut.
Ambulance.
They called an ambulance. They called an ambulance. The ambulance arrived quickly. The ambulance arrived quickly. The ambulance took him to hospital. The ambulance took him to hospital.
Paramedic.
The paramedic treated the victim. The paramedic treated the victim. Paramedics arrived at the scene. Paramedics arrived at the scene. The paramedic bandaged the wound. The paramedic bandaged the wound.
Firefighter.
Firefighters rescued the passengers. Firefighters rescued the passengers. The firefighter put out the fire. The firefighter put out the fire. Firefighters arrived quickly. Firefighters arrived quickly.
Police.
Police arrived at the scene. Police arrived at the scene. Police investigated the accident. Police investigated the accident. Police closed the road. Police closed the road.
Officer.
The officer took statements. The officer took statements. The police officer arrived first. The police officer arrived first. The officer directed traffic. The officer directed traffic.
Doctor.
The doctor examined the patient. The doctor examined the patient. The doctor treated her injuries. The doctor treated her injuries. The doctor saved his life. The doctor saved his life.
Nurse.
The nurse bandaged his arm. The nurse bandaged his arm. The nurse helped the doctor. The nurse helped the doctor. Nurses cared for the patients. Nurses cared for the patients.
Hospital.
They took him to hospital. They took him to hospital. The hospital was nearby. The hospital was nearby. She stayed in hospital for a week. She stayed in hospital for a week.
Emergency room.
They rushed him to the emergency room. They rushed him to the emergency room. The emergency room was busy. The emergency room was busy. She was treated in the emergency room. She was treated in the emergency room.
Emergency services.
They called emergency services. They called emergency services. Emergency services arrived quickly. Emergency services arrived quickly. Emergency services rescued everyone. Emergency services rescued everyone.
Car.
The car crashed into the wall. The car crashed into the wall. The car was destroyed. The car was destroyed. Both cars were damaged. Both cars were damaged.
Vehicle.
The vehicle overturned. The vehicle overturned. Several vehicles were involved. Several vehicles were involved. The vehicle caught fire. The vehicle caught fire.
Truck.
The truck crashed on the motorway. The truck crashed on the motorway. The truck overturned. The truck overturned. The truck was very large. The truck was very large.
Motorcycle.
The motorcycle crashed into the car. The motorcycle crashed into the car. The motorcycle rider was injured. The motorcycle rider was injured. The motorcycle was damaged. The motorcycle was damaged.
Bicycle.
The bicycle was hit by a car. The bicycle was hit by a car. He fell off his bicycle. He fell off his bicycle. The bicycle was damaged. The bicycle was damaged.
Bus.
The bus crashed into a tree. The bus crashed into a tree. All bus passengers were safe. All bus passengers were safe. The bus was damaged. The bus was damaged.
Fire.
The car caught fire. The car caught fire. Firefighters put out the fire. Firefighters put out the fire. The fire spread quickly. The fire spread quickly.
Explosion.
The explosion was loud. The explosion was loud. The car explosion destroyed everything. The car explosion destroyed everything. They heard the explosion. They heard the explosion.
Smoke.
There was thick smoke from the fire. There was thick smoke from the fire. The smoke made it hard to see. The smoke made it hard to see. They saw smoke rising. They saw smoke rising.
Scene.
Police arrived at the scene. Police arrived at the scene. The scene was chaotic. The scene was chaotic. They secured the scene. They secured the scene.
Road.
The accident happened on the road. The accident happened on the road. The road was closed. The road was closed. The road was wet and slippery. The road was wet and slippery.
Motorway.
The crash happened on the motorway. The crash happened on the motorway. The motorway was blocked. The motorway was blocked. Traffic on the motorway was heavy. Traffic on the motorway was heavy.
Intersection.
The accident happened at the intersection. The accident happened at the intersection. The intersection was busy. The intersection was busy. They crashed at the intersection. They crashed at the intersection.
Barrier.
The car hit the barrier. The car hit the barrier. The barrier prevented further damage. The barrier prevented further damage. They crashed into the barrier. They crashed into the barrier.
Tree.
The car hit a tree. The car hit a tree. The tree was damaged. The tree was damaged. They crashed into the tree. They crashed into the tree.
Wall.
The car crashed into the wall. The car crashed into the wall. The wall was damaged. The wall was damaged. They hit the wall at high speed. They hit the wall at high speed.
Damage.
The damage was extensive. The damage was extensive. The accident caused serious damage. The accident caused serious damage. They assessed the damage. They assessed the damage.
Cause.
They investigated the cause of the accident. They investigated the cause of the accident. The cause was speed. The cause was speed. The cause was unclear. The cause was unclear.
Speed.
Excessive speed caused the crash. Excessive speed caused the crash. The speed was too high. The speed was too high. They were driving at high speed. They were driving at high speed.
Error.
The driver's error caused the accident. The driver's error caused the accident. It was a simple error. It was a simple error. The error was fatal. The error was fatal.
Mistake.
The mistake led to the crash. The mistake led to the crash. It was a costly mistake. It was a costly mistake. The mistake was avoidable. The mistake was avoidable.
Weather.
Bad weather caused the accident. Bad weather caused the accident. The weather was terrible. The weather was terrible. The weather made driving difficult. The weather made driving difficult.
Rain.
The rain made the road slippery. The rain made the road slippery. Heavy rain caused the crash. Heavy rain caused the crash. The rain reduced visibility. The rain reduced visibility.
Ice.
The car skidded on the ice. The car skidded on the ice. The ice made the road dangerous. The ice made the road dangerous. They lost control on the ice. They lost control on the ice.
Fog.
The fog reduced visibility. The fog reduced visibility. Dense fog caused the accident. Dense fog caused the accident. They couldn't see through the fog. They couldn't see through the fog.
Bandage.
They applied a bandage to the wound. They applied a bandage to the wound. The bandage stopped the bleeding. The bandage stopped the bleeding. She changed the bandage. She changed the bandage.
Stretcher.
They carried him on a stretcher. They carried him on a stretcher. The stretcher was in the ambulance. The stretcher was in the ambulance. Paramedics used a stretcher. Paramedics used a stretcher.
First aid.
They provided first aid. They provided first aid. She knew first aid. She knew first aid. First aid saved his life. First aid saved his life.
Treatment.
She received immediate treatment. She received immediate treatment. The treatment was successful. The treatment was successful. They provided medical treatment. They provided medical treatment.
Surgery.
He needed surgery. He needed surgery. The surgery was successful. The surgery was successful. They performed emergency surgery. They performed emergency surgery.
Recovery.
Her recovery was slow. Her recovery was slow. He made a full recovery. He made a full recovery. The recovery took months. The recovery took months.
Death.
The accident resulted in death. The accident resulted in death. There were several deaths. There were several deaths. The death was tragic. The death was tragic.
Insurance.
They called their insurance company. They called their insurance company. The insurance covered the damage. The insurance covered the damage. They had car insurance. They had car insurance.
Report.
They filed a police report. They filed a police report. The report described the accident. The report described the accident. They wrote an accident report. They wrote an accident report.
Statement.
The witness gave a statement. The witness gave a statement. They took his statement. They took his statement. The statement was recorded. The statement was recorded.
Investigation.
Police began an investigation. Police began an investigation. The investigation took weeks. The investigation took weeks. They completed the investigation. They completed the investigation.
Evidence.
They collected evidence at the scene. They collected evidence at the scene. The evidence was clear. The evidence was clear. They found important evidence. They found important evidence.
Fault.
The driver was at fault. The driver was at fault. They determined who was at fault. They determined who was at fault. The fault was clear. The fault was clear.
Safety.
Safety is important. Safety is important. They improved road safety. They improved road safety. Safety measures prevent accidents. Safety measures prevent accidents.
Helmet.
The helmet saved his life. The helmet saved his life. He wasn't wearing a helmet. He wasn't wearing a helmet. The helmet protected his head. The helmet protected his head.
Seatbelt.
The seatbelt saved her life. The seatbelt saved her life. She wasn't wearing a seatbelt. She wasn't wearing a seatbelt. Always wear your seatbelt. Always wear your seatbelt.
Airbag.
The airbag deployed. The airbag deployed. The airbag protected the driver. The airbag protected the driver. The airbag saved his life. The airbag saved his life.
Help.
They called for help. They called for help. Help arrived quickly. Help arrived quickly. They needed immediate help. They needed immediate help.
Danger.
There was immediate danger. There was immediate danger. The danger was real. The danger was real. They were in danger. They were in danger.
Risk.
There was a high risk of injury. There was a high risk of injury. They took a risk. They took a risk. The risk was too great. The risk was too great.
Luck.
They were lucky to survive. They were lucky to survive. It was pure luck. It was pure luck. Luck was on their side. Luck was on their side.
Miracle.
It was a miracle they survived. It was a miracle they survived. The miracle saved them. The miracle saved them. They called it a miracle. They called it a miracle.
Ouch.
Ouch, that hurts. Ouch, that hurts. She said ouch when she fell. She said ouch when she fell. Ouch, my arm. Ouch, my arm.
Pain.
She felt a lot of pain. She felt a lot of pain. The pain was terrible. The pain was terrible. He was in pain. He was in pain.
Hurt.
My leg really hurts. My leg really hurts. Are you hurt? Are you hurt? It hurts when I move. It hurts when I move.
Sore.
My arm is sore. My arm is sore. She felt sore all over. She felt sore all over. His back was sore. His back was sore.
Stiff.
My neck is stiff. My neck is stiff. She felt stiff after the accident. She felt stiff after the accident. His muscles were stiff. His muscles were stiff.
Swollen.
Her ankle was swollen. Her ankle was swollen. The swollen area was painful. The swollen area was painful. His face was swollen. His face was swollen.
Bleeding.
He was bleeding from his head. He was bleeding from his head. The cut was bleeding a lot. The cut was bleeding a lot. Stop the bleeding. Stop the bleeding.
Unconscious.
He was unconscious after the crash. He was unconscious after the crash. She fell unconscious. She fell unconscious. They found him unconscious. They found him unconscious.
Conscious.
She was still conscious. She was still conscious. He remained conscious throughout. He remained conscious throughout. Are you conscious? Are you conscious?
Dizzy.
She felt dizzy after the fall. She felt dizzy after the fall. He was dizzy and confused. He was dizzy and confused. I feel dizzy. I feel dizzy.
Nauseous.
She felt nauseous. She felt nauseous. He was nauseous after the accident. He was nauseous after the accident. The pain made her nauseous. The pain made her nauseous.
Shock.
She was in shock. She was in shock. The accident put him in shock. The accident put him in shock. He was suffering from shock. He was suffering from shock.
Scared.
She was very scared. She was very scared. The children were scared. The children were scared. He was scared but okay. He was scared but okay.
Frightened.
She was frightened by the crash. She was frightened by the crash. The frightened passengers got out. The frightened passengers got out. He looked frightened. He looked frightened.
Shaken.
She was shaken but unhurt. She was shaken but unhurt. He was shaken by the experience. He was shaken by the experience. They were all shaken. They were all shaken.
Upset.
She was very upset. She was very upset. He was upset about the accident. He was upset about the accident. Don't be upset. Don't be upset.
Okay.
Are you okay? Are you okay? I'm okay, just shaken. I'm okay, just shaken. Everything will be okay. Everything will be okay.
Fine.
I'm fine, don't worry. I'm fine, don't worry. She said she was fine. She said she was fine. Everything is fine now. Everything is fine now.
Safe.
Are you safe? Are you safe? Everyone is safe now. Everyone is safe now. Get to a safe place. Get to a safe place.
Loud.
There was a loud crash. There was a loud crash. The explosion was very loud. The explosion was very loud. They heard a loud noise. They heard a loud noise.
Noise.
There was a terrible noise. There was a terrible noise. The noise was deafening. The noise was deafening. They heard the noise of the crash. They heard the noise of the crash.
Bang.
There was a loud bang. There was a loud bang. They heard a bang. They heard a bang. The bang scared everyone. The bang scared everyone.
Crash.
They heard the crash. They heard the crash. The crash was loud. The crash was loud. There was a terrible crash. There was a terrible crash.
Mess.
The accident was a real mess. The accident was a real mess. What a mess. What a mess. The car was a complete mess. The car was a complete mess.
Wreck.
The car was a total wreck. The car was a total wreck. They saw the wreck on the road. They saw the wreck on the road. The wreck was towed away. The wreck was towed away.
Broken.
The window was broken. The window was broken. Everything was broken. Everything was broken. The car was completely broken. The car was completely broken.
Smashed.
The windscreen was smashed. The windscreen was smashed. Everything was smashed. Everything was smashed. The car was smashed. The car was smashed.
Bent.
The metal was bent. The metal was bent. The wheel was bent. The wheel was bent. Everything was bent out of shape. Everything was bent out of shape.
Twisted.
The metal was twisted. The metal was twisted. The car was twisted. The car was twisted. Everything was twisted. Everything was twisted.
Flat.
The tire was flat. The tire was flat. They had a flat tire. They had a flat tire. The tire went flat. The tire went flat.
Stuck.
He was stuck in the car. He was stuck in the car. The door was stuck. The door was stuck. They were stuck inside. They were stuck inside.
Trapped.
She was trapped in the vehicle. She was trapped in the vehicle. They were trapped by the wreckage. They were trapped by the wreckage. He felt trapped. He felt trapped.
Crowd.
A crowd gathered around the accident. A crowd gathered around the accident. The crowd watched as help arrived. The crowd watched as help arrived. There was a large crowd. There was a large crowd.
Bystander.
A bystander called for help. A bystander called for help. Several bystanders helped. Several bystanders helped. The bystander witnessed everything. The bystander witnessed everything.
Onlooker.
Many onlookers stopped to watch. Many onlookers stopped to watch. The onlookers were shocked. The onlookers were shocked. Curious onlookers gathered. Curious onlookers gathered.
Quickly.
Help arrived quickly. Help arrived quickly. They acted quickly. They acted quickly. Everything happened quickly. Everything happened quickly.
Suddenly.
It happened suddenly. It happened suddenly. The car stopped suddenly. The car stopped suddenly. Suddenly, there was a crash. Suddenly, there was a crash.
Immediately.
They called for help immediately. They called for help immediately. Help came immediately. Help came immediately. They responded immediately. They responded immediately.
Right away.
They called an ambulance right away. They called an ambulance right away. Help arrived right away. Help arrived right away. They acted right away. They acted right away.
Afterwards.
Afterwards, they went to hospital. Afterwards, they went to hospital. What happened afterwards? What happened afterwards? Afterwards, everything was fine. Afterwards, everything was fine.
Later.
Later, they felt better. Later, they felt better. We'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it later. Later, they remembered what happened. Later, they remembered what happened.
Before.
Everything was fine before the accident. Everything was fine before the accident. Before the crash, they were driving normally. Before the crash, they were driving normally. What happened before? What happened before?
During.
During the accident, she was scared. During the accident, she was scared. What were you doing during the crash? What were you doing during the crash? During the impact, everything went black. During the impact, everything went black.
After.
After the accident, they felt shaken. After the accident, they felt shaken. What happened after? What happened after? After the crash, help arrived. After the crash, help arrived.
Terrible.
It was a terrible accident. It was a terrible accident. The crash was terrible. The crash was terrible. She felt terrible. She felt terrible.
Awful.
It was an awful experience. It was an awful experience. The accident was awful. The accident was awful. She felt awful. She felt awful.
Horrible.
It was a horrible crash. It was a horrible crash. The accident was horrible. The accident was horrible. She felt horrible. She felt horrible.
Bad.
It was a bad accident. It was a bad accident. The crash was really bad. The crash was really bad. She felt bad about it. She felt bad about it.
Serious.
It was a serious accident. It was a serious accident. The injuries were serious. The injuries were serious. The situation was serious. The situation was serious.
Minor.
It was a minor accident. It was a minor accident. She had minor injuries. She had minor injuries. The damage was minor. The damage was minor.
Lucky.
They were very lucky. They were very lucky. She was lucky to survive. She was lucky to survive. Lucky no one was hurt. Lucky no one was hurt.
Unlucky.
They were unlucky. They were unlucky. It was unlucky timing. It was unlucky timing. She was unlucky that day. She was unlucky that day.
Careful.
Be careful on the road. Be careful on the road. You need to be more careful. You need to be more careful. Careful driving prevents accidents. Careful driving prevents accidents.
Careless.
Careless driving caused the crash. Careless driving caused the crash. He was being careless. He was being careless. Careless mistakes lead to accidents. Careless mistakes lead to accidents.
Sorry.
I'm sorry about the accident. I'm sorry about the accident. She said sorry. She said sorry. Are you sorry? Are you sorry?
Worried.
She was worried about him. She was worried about him. Don't be worried. Don't be worried. They were all worried. They were all worried.
Relieved.
She was relieved everyone was okay. She was relieved everyone was okay. He felt relieved. He felt relieved. They were relieved to be safe. They were relieved to be safe.
Thankful.
She was thankful to be alive. She was thankful to be alive. They were thankful for the help. They were thankful for the help. I'm thankful no one was hurt. I'm thankful no one was hurt.
Grateful.
She was grateful for the rescue. She was grateful for the rescue. They were grateful to the paramedics. They were grateful to the paramedics. I'm grateful everyone is safe. I'm grateful everyone is safe.
Bonus examples.
There was a car accident on the motorway. There was a car accident on the motorway. Two cars crashed into each other. Two cars crashed into each other. She fell down and hurt her knee. She fell down and hurt her knee. He slipped on the ice and fell. He slipped on the ice and fell. The car hit a tree. The car hit a tree. She broke her arm in the fall. She broke her arm in the fall. He cut his finger with a knife. He cut his finger with a knife. The car caught fire after the crash. The car caught fire after the crash. They called an ambulance right away. They called an ambulance right away. The ambulance arrived quickly. The ambulance arrived quickly. Paramedics helped the injured people. Paramedics helped the injured people. She was bleeding from her head. She was bleeding from her head. They took him to hospital. They took him to hospital. The doctor treated her injuries. The doctor treated her injuries. She had a broken leg. She had a broken leg. He was unconscious after the crash. He was unconscious after the crash. She felt dizzy and nauseous. She felt dizzy and nauseous. They were all scared but okay. They were all scared but okay. The car was completely destroyed. The car was completely destroyed. The windscreen was smashed. The windscreen was smashed. Everything was broken. Everything was broken. Police arrived at the scene. Police arrived at the scene. They investigated the accident. They investigated the accident. Several witnesses saw what happened. Several witnesses saw what happened. The driver lost control of the car. The driver lost control of the car. The car skidded on the wet road. The car skidded on the wet road. It happened suddenly. It happened suddenly. The crash was very loud. The crash was very loud. Everyone was shaken but safe. Everyone was shaken but safe. She was lucky to survive. She was lucky to survive. It was a terrible accident. It was a terrible accident. The injuries were serious. The injuries were serious. It was just a minor accident. It was just a minor accident. They were very careful after that. They were very careful after that. Careless driving causes accidents. Careless driving causes accidents. Always wear your seatbelt. Always wear your seatbelt. The helmet saved his life. The helmet saved his life. She was worried about him. She was worried about him. They were relieved everyone was okay. They were relieved everyone was okay. She was thankful to be alive. She was thankful to be alive. I'm sorry about the accident. I'm sorry about the accident. What happened before the crash? What happened before the crash? During the accident, she was scared. During the accident, she was scared. After the crash, help arrived quickly. After the crash, help arrived quickly. Afterwards, they went to hospital. Afterwards, they went to hospital. Later, they felt much better. Later, they felt much better. A crowd gathered around the accident. A crowd gathered around the accident. A bystander called for help. A bystander called for help. The car was a total wreck. The car was a total wreck. He was stuck in the car. He was stuck in the car. She was trapped in the vehicle. She was trapped in the vehicle. The tire was flat. The tire was flat. My arm really hurts. My arm really hurts. Are you hurt? Are you hurt? I'm fine, don't worry. I'm fine, don't worry. Are you okay? Are you okay? Ouch, that hurts. Ouch, that hurts. She felt a lot of pain. She felt a lot of pain. My leg is sore. My leg is sore. Her ankle was swollen. Her ankle was swollen. The accident was awful. The accident was awful. It was a horrible crash. It was a horrible crash. The damage was extensive. The damage was extensive. They were very lucky. They were very lucky. Be careful on the road. Be careful on the road. The road was wet and slippery. The road was wet and slippery. The accident happened at the intersection. The accident happened at the intersection. The motorway was blocked. The motorway was blocked. They heard a loud bang. They heard a loud bang. There was a terrible noise. There was a terrible noise. The car was completely smashed. The car was completely smashed. The metal was bent out of shape. The metal was bent out of shape. Everything was twisted. Everything was twisted. She was in shock. She was in shock. He remained conscious throughout. He remained conscious throughout. She felt dizzy after the fall. She felt dizzy after the fall. The pain was terrible. The pain was terrible. They stopped the bleeding. They stopped the bleeding. The nurse bandaged his arm. The nurse bandaged his arm. They provided first aid. They provided first aid. She received immediate treatment. She received immediate treatment. He needed surgery. He needed surgery. Her recovery was slow. Her recovery was slow. He made a full recovery. He made a full recovery. The accident resulted in death. The accident resulted in death. They called their insurance company. They called their insurance company. The insurance covered the damage. The insurance covered the damage. They filed a police report. They filed a police report. The witness gave a statement. The witness gave a statement. Police began an investigation. Police began an investigation. They collected evidence at the scene. They collected evidence at the scene. The driver was at fault. The driver was at fault. Safety is important. Safety is important. The airbag deployed. The airbag deployed. They called for help immediately. They called for help immediately. Help arrived right away. Help arrived right away. There was immediate danger. There was immediate danger. They were in danger. They were in danger. There was a high risk of injury. There was a high risk of injury. It was a miracle they survived. It was a miracle they survived. They were unlucky that day. They were unlucky that day. The weather was terrible. The weather was terrible. Heavy rain caused the crash. Heavy rain caused the crash. The car skidded on the ice. The car skidded on the ice. Dense fog reduced visibility. Dense fog reduced visibility. Excessive speed caused the accident. Excessive speed caused the accident. The driver's error caused the crash. The driver's error caused the crash. It was a costly mistake. It was a costly mistake. They tried to prevent the accident. They tried to prevent the accident. He tried to avoid the collision. He tried to avoid the collision. She survived the crash. She survived the crash. 3 people died in the accident. 3 people died in the accident. She is recovering from her injuries. She is recovering from her injuries. The wound will heal in time. The wound will heal in time. The accident damaged the car. The accident damaged the car. The fire destroyed everything. The fire destroyed everything. The car was totaled in the crash. The car was totaled in the crash. The explosion was loud. The explosion was loud. There was thick smoke from the fire. There was thick smoke from the fire. The scene was chaotic. The scene was chaotic. The road was closed. The road was closed. The car hit the barrier. The car hit the barrier. They crashed into the tree. They crashed into the tree. The car crashed into the wall. The car crashed into the wall. Firefighters put out the fire. Firefighters put out the fire. They rescued him from the burning car. They rescued him from the burning car. The doctor saved his life. The doctor saved his life. They treated him at the scene. They treated him at the scene. They carried him on a stretcher. They carried him on a stretcher. The ambulance took him to hospital. The ambulance took him to hospital. The emergency room was busy. The emergency room was busy. Emergency services arrived quickly. Emergency services arrived quickly. The truck crashed on the motorway. The truck crashed on the motorway. The motorcycle crashed into the car. The motorcycle crashed into the car. The bicycle was hit by a car. The bicycle was hit by a car. He fell off his bicycle. He fell off his bicycle. The bus crashed into a tree. The bus crashed into a tree. All bus passengers were safe. All bus passengers were safe. A pedestrian was hit by the car. A pedestrian was hit by the car. The pedestrian was crossing the street. The pedestrian was crossing the street. She suffered serious injuries. She suffered serious injuries. The wound was deep. The wound was deep. She had a deep cut on her hand. She had a deep cut on her hand. She had a large bruise on her arm. She had a large bruise on her arm. He had a fracture in his leg. He had a fracture in his leg. He had a broken bone in his arm. He had a broken bone in his arm. He suffered a concussion. He suffered a concussion. She had a burn on her hand. She had a burn on her hand. The bleeding was heavy. The bleeding was heavy. The accident left a scar. The accident left a scar. The paramedic treated the victim. The paramedic treated the victim. Firefighters arrived quickly. Firefighters arrived quickly. The police officer took statements. The police officer took statements. The nurse helped the doctor. The nurse helped the doctor. She stayed in hospital for a week. She stayed in hospital for a week. They rushed him to the emergency room. They rushed him to the emergency room. She was treated in the emergency room. She was treated in the emergency room. They called emergency services. They called emergency services. The victim was taken to hospital. The victim was taken to hospital. Several casualties were injured. Several casualties were injured. The survivor was rescued from the car. The survivor was rescued from the car. All survivors were taken to hospital. All survivors were taken to hospital. Several witnesses saw the accident. Several witnesses saw the accident. The witness gave a statement. The witness gave a statement. The driver lost control. The driver lost control. The driver was injured. The driver was injured. All passengers survived. All passengers survived. The passenger was hurt. The passenger was hurt. There were 3 passengers in the car. There were 3 passengers in the car. They avoided hitting the pedestrian. They avoided hitting the pedestrian. The injury was to his head. The injury was to his head. He had minor injuries. He had minor injuries. They treated the wound. They treated the wound. The wound was bleeding. The wound was bleeding. The cut needed stitches. The cut needed stitches. He cleaned the cut. He cleaned the cut. The bruise was purple. The bruise was purple. He had several bruises. He had several bruises. The fracture was serious. The fracture was serious. She broke her arm and had a fracture. She broke her arm and had a fracture. The broken bone needed surgery. The broken bone needed surgery. She had several broken bones. She had several broken bones. The concussion was serious. The concussion was serious. She had a mild concussion. She had a mild concussion. The burn was from hot water. The burn was from hot water. He had severe burns. He had severe burns. They stopped the bleeding. They stopped the bleeding. The bleeding needed immediate attention. The bleeding needed immediate attention. The scar was from the cut. The scar was from the cut. She had a scar on her face. She had a scar on her face. They applied a bandage to the wound. They applied a bandage to the wound. The bandage stopped the bleeding. The bandage stopped the bleeding. She changed the bandage. She changed the bandage. The stretcher was in the ambulance. The stretcher was in the ambulance. Paramedics used a stretcher. Paramedics used a stretcher. She knew first aid. She knew first aid. First aid saved his life. First aid saved his life. The treatment was successful. The treatment was successful. They provided medical treatment. They provided medical treatment. The surgery was successful. The surgery was successful. They performed emergency surgery. They performed emergency surgery. He made a full recovery. He made a full recovery. The recovery took months. The recovery took months. There were several deaths. There were several deaths. The death was tragic. The death was tragic. The insurance covered the damage. The insurance covered the damage. They had car insurance. They had car insurance. The report described the accident. The report described the accident. They wrote an accident report. They wrote an accident report. They took his statement. They took his statement. The statement was recorded. The statement was recorded. The investigation took weeks. The investigation took weeks. They completed the investigation. They completed the investigation. The evidence was clear. The evidence was clear. They found important evidence. They found important evidence. They determined who was at fault. They determined who was at fault. The fault was clear. The fault was clear. They improved road safety. They improved road safety. Safety measures prevent accidents. Safety measures prevent accidents. He wasn't wearing a helmet. He wasn't wearing a helmet. The helmet protected his head. The helmet protected his head. She wasn't wearing a seatbelt. She wasn't wearing a seatbelt. The airbag protected the driver. The airbag protected the driver. The airbag saved his life. The airbag saved his life. They needed immediate help. They needed immediate help. The danger was real. The danger was real. They were in danger. They were in danger. They took a risk. They took a risk. The risk was too great. The risk was too great. It was pure luck. It was pure luck. Luck was on their side. Luck was on their side. The miracle saved them. The miracle saved them. They called it a miracle. They called it a miracle. The rain made the road slippery. The rain made the road slippery. The rain reduced visibility. The rain reduced visibility. The ice made the road dangerous. The ice made the road dangerous. They lost control on the ice. They lost control on the ice. Dense fog caused the accident. Dense fog caused the accident. They couldn't see through the fog. They couldn't see through the fog. The speed was too high. The speed was too high. They were driving at high speed. They were driving at high speed. It was a simple error. It was a simple error. The error was fatal. The error was fatal. The mistake was avoidable. The mistake was avoidable. Bad weather caused the accident. Bad weather caused the accident. The weather made driving difficult. The weather made driving difficult. They investigated the cause of the accident. They investigated the cause of the accident. The cause was speed. The cause was speed. The cause was unclear. The cause was unclear. The damage was extensive. The damage was extensive. The accident caused serious damage. The accident caused serious damage. They assessed the damage. They assessed the damage. The scene was chaotic. The scene was chaotic. They secured the scene. They secured the scene. The road was wet and slippery. The road was wet and slippery. Traffic on the motorway was heavy. Traffic on the motorway was heavy. The intersection was busy. The intersection was busy. They crashed at the intersection. They crashed at the intersection. The barrier prevented further damage. The barrier prevented further damage. They crashed into the barrier. They crashed into the barrier. The tree was damaged. The tree was damaged. The wall was damaged. The wall was damaged. They hit the wall at high speed. They hit the wall at high speed. The fire spread quickly. The fire spread quickly. The car explosion destroyed everything. The car explosion destroyed everything. They heard the explosion. They heard the explosion. The smoke made it hard to see. The smoke made it hard to see. They saw smoke rising. They saw smoke rising. Police investigated the accident. Police investigated the accident. Police closed the road. Police closed the road. The officer took statements. The officer took statements. The police officer arrived first. The police officer arrived first. The officer directed traffic. The officer directed traffic. The doctor examined the patient. The doctor examined the patient. The doctor treated her injuries. The doctor treated her injuries. The doctor saved his life. The doctor saved his life. Nurses cared for the patients. Nurses cared for the patients. The hospital was nearby. The hospital was nearby. They rushed him to the emergency room. They rushed him to the emergency room. The emergency room was busy. The emergency room was busy. She was treated in the emergency room. She was treated in the emergency room. Emergency services rescued everyone. Emergency services rescued everyone. The car crashed into the wall. The car crashed into the wall. Both cars were damaged. Both cars were damaged. The vehicle overturned. The vehicle overturned. Several vehicles were involved. Several vehicles were involved. The vehicle caught fire. The vehicle caught fire. The truck overturned. The truck overturned. The truck was very large. The truck was very large. The motorcycle rider was injured. The motorcycle rider was injured. The motorcycle was damaged. The motorcycle was damaged. The bicycle was damaged. The bicycle was damaged. The bus was damaged. The bus was damaged. The car was destroyed. The car was destroyed. The car was a total wreck. The car was a total wreck. They saw the wreck on the road. They saw the wreck on the road. The wreck was towed away. The wreck was towed away. The window was broken. The window was broken. Everything was broken. Everything was broken. The car was completely broken. The car was completely broken. Everything was smashed. Everything was smashed. The wheel was bent. The wheel was bent. Everything was bent out of shape. Everything was bent out of shape. The car was twisted. The car was twisted. They had a flat tire. They had a flat tire. The tire went flat. The tire went flat. The door was stuck. The door was stuck. They were stuck inside. They were stuck inside. They were trapped by the wreckage. They were trapped by the wreckage. He felt trapped. He felt trapped. The crowd watched as help arrived. The crowd watched as help arrived. There was a large crowd. There was a large crowd. Several bystanders helped. Several bystanders helped. The bystander witnessed everything. The bystander witnessed everything. The onlookers were shocked. The onlookers were shocked. Curious onlookers gathered. Curious onlookers gathered. They acted quickly. They acted quickly. Everything happened quickly. Everything happened quickly. The car stopped suddenly. The car stopped suddenly. Suddenly, there was a crash. Suddenly, there was a crash. Help came immediately. Help came immediately. They responded immediately. They responded immediately. They called an ambulance right away. They called an ambulance right away. They acted right away. They acted right away. What happened afterwards? What happened afterwards? Afterwards, everything was fine. Afterwards, everything was fine. We'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it later. Later, they remembered what happened. Later, they remembered what happened. Before the crash, they were driving normally. Before the crash, they were driving normally. What happened before? What happened before? What were you doing during the crash? What were you doing during the crash? During the impact, everything went black. During the impact, everything went black. What happened after? What happened after? After the crash, help arrived. After the crash, help arrived. The crash was terrible. The crash was terrible. She felt terrible. She felt terrible. It was an awful experience. It was an awful experience. The accident was awful. The accident was awful. She felt awful. She felt awful. The accident was horrible. The accident was horrible. She felt horrible. She felt horrible. The crash was really bad. The crash was really bad. She felt bad about it. She felt bad about it. The injuries were serious. The injuries were serious. The situation was serious. The situation was serious. She had minor injuries. She had minor injuries. The damage was minor. The damage was minor. She was lucky to survive. She was lucky to survive. Lucky no one was hurt. Lucky no one was hurt. It was unlucky timing. It was unlucky timing. She was unlucky that day. She was unlucky that day. You need to be more careful. You need to be more careful. Careful driving prevents accidents. Careful driving prevents accidents. He was being careless. He was being careless. Careless mistakes lead to accidents. Careless mistakes lead to accidents. She said sorry. She said sorry. Are you sorry? Are you sorry? Don't be worried. Don't be worried. They were all worried. They were all worried. He felt relieved. He felt relieved. They were relieved to be safe. They were relieved to be safe. They were thankful for the help. They were thankful for the help. I'm thankful no one was hurt. I'm thankful no one was hurt. They were grateful to the paramedics. They were grateful to the paramedics. I'm grateful everyone is safe. I'm grateful everyone is safe.